would like to speak a bit about the potential of the Israeli technological industry to create value in the oil and gas industry, and through doing that, also to create a totally new growth engine for the Israeli technological industry in a sector, in an area that so far it hasn't been a part of its activity. Probably for obvious reasons, it just was not on the table. Since the natural gas discoveries here a few years ago, so the awareness for this sector and what happens in the world and the oil price, etc., and it's on the table, it's on the agenda, it's on the public agenda. Most of the public agenda is dealing with regulation and with the export and with the taxation issues, etc. And we are putting strong and strong into the agenda the entire issue of developing a supplier industry. This is both creating the consciousness and the know-how in the Israeli technological industry and in decision makers in the government. And from another side, we are working vis-a-vis global supply industry in the oil and gas industry to create the awareness that Israel could be a potential source. What is obvious in some other sectors like ICT, like life science, so far it hasn't been obvious in oil and gas. So to start opening the mind and start setting the platform for technological discussions, innovation discussions about the challenges the oil and gas industry is facing and where the Israeli industry could bring value. So that's basically my message. Now it's going to go into details, but I think that's what will go out through the short presentation I have. So you're all aware about the position of Israel in the R&D sector, in the science and technology sector. Israel, you can see here the figure in terms of GDP per capita in R&D investments per GDP. As percentage of GDP, Israel ranks highest in the world. Now this is a nice figure, but except of the 4.3 or 4.4 or 4.5 each year it ranges, what it really reflects, and all of the international entrepreneurs that are here and are in touch with the Israeli technological industry, what it really reflects is the culture of innovation, culture of finding solutions, looking at things in a different way and bringing results. It's true also, you can see here also Israel ranks high both in level of innovation, which is practical innovation, quality of scientific research, so it's both in the academic level and in the industrial level. This is here some slide with a figure about patents. This is in this case in the life science, but again, I think the message is clear and you all probably are aware of that. Israel is a major R&D hub. One of the recognitions for that is that today, here in this slide, I think you can see here some of the names, including our friends here from GE that have been operating in Israel for the last 2 or 3 decades at least, correct me if I'm wrong. Israel has, and I will show you now on the next slide, when it will operate. Good. This figure is 240, but this is from 2011. Now the figure is closer to 300 R&D centers of multinationals. Israel, with all its issues and geopolitics and etc., and the Arabs, and not the Arabs, in the end of the day, the Israeli industry brings value and brings result to the global industry, to the global economy. And this is one of the reflection of that. You can see here most of it's in ICT. About 50% of the 300 R&D centers or multinationals located in Israel, which is unproportional for the size of the country. And I'm saying it with humility. I'm not saying it. I don't want it in any way to sound like I'm saying we are not at all. The message is that there are technological capacities, recognized technological capacities, innovative technological capacities that could bring value also into the oil and gas industry. It comes from that perspective, and it's important also to understand that there is no showing off or something like that. So you see about 30% in ICT, 50% sorry in ICT, and about 20% more or less in life science, and the rest of them, hopefully, in 5 or 6 or 10 years from now, we will see also some oil and gas. I strongly believe in that chart. Going away from the statistics, some things that some of you are aware, some of you might not be aware, but for example, the PILCAM, this is in the second line, this was invented in Israel. This is basically a spin-off of Rafael, which is defense industry, and this is basically missile technology going inside your intestine, because then you need to see that it navigates and it doesn't get stuck, and instead of having an intrusive procedure, you just swallow a pill, and after 24 hours it gets out in a natural way, and you get all the information. The doctors get all the information that they need. So the disk on key was invented in Israel, the Kinect, the Waze, which was bought by Google about 6 months, 1 year ago. Drip irrigation, if you look also about also in developing world and developed world. Intel has a massive facilities in Israel, not because Israel is popular in the world, but because Israel has the capacity to bring on value, etc., etc., etc. And you can see here some of the examples. A few words about ourselves, about who and what I'm representing. I work for the Office of the Chief Scientist, which is the main governmental organization in Israel supporting industrial applicative research and development. We work in all sectors of the economy. We do it for the last 40 years with the notion that now we have some natural gas, but still it might be 1%, 1.5% from Israel GDP. It will not be Saudi Arabia's proportion. Thankfully so, probably. And we have here some mineral resources, but except of that, the only thing that we have here is the mine. That's all. I mean, probably we don't have any other choice. It's not that we are so great. We just don't have any other choice. For the last 40 years, we are pushing a knowledge-based industry to develop and to foster. And on the innovation ecosystem in Israel, so the OCS, the Office of the Chief Scientist, is the main governmental pillar from the government side. And what we do, basically we co-fund, we share the risks, and we encourage companies to take technological risks, to go for breakthroughs, etc., and we share the risks with them by funding. We also do matchmaking and creating platforms for international cooperation, because Israel is a small country and the market of the Israeli industry in all sectors is the international market. So we put also a lot of emphasis on that part. And basically we work according to life stages, from a very, very small one, very early small support for an entrepreneur that has something in mind to start taking it into practical terms, until international collaborations, and Israel is a member, for example, if we go for the large stuff, from the small one to the large one, in the Horizon 2020 in Europe, etc. So also from the small one to the bigger R&D projects, we are active. Just in figures, so you get a feeling about what I'm talking about, we have about 2,200 applications for R&D projects in all sectors of the economy. Out of that, about 1,300, a budget of about 1.6 billion Israeli shekel, which is around $450 million. So that's more or less what we're doing. Now, all this capacity, I strongly believe, and we already start seeing it coming, could bring value also in the oil and gas industry, especially in the upstream, which is so multi-disciplinary. The technological disciplines that are needed in the upstream industry, from water treatment in the onshore and offshore, of course, and from robotics and automated system to go for subsea, from ICT solutions, from big data, etc., security technology that could be shifted into environmental monitoring systems, etc., which is a challenge for the oil and gas industry. So we believe that those technologies could bring value in the oil and gas industry. We see Norway as a model, the model, probably any country that oil and gas is being discovered there, when they think about developing a supply industry, they look at Norway. And just in figures, so you can see in Norway, they found the first oil and gas, the first oil field in '69. Fast forward 40 years, in 2009, they had their oil and gas extraction turnover was about 500 billion Norwegian crowns, which is about more or less 100 billion euros. And the supply industry working worldwide was half of that, which is about 10% of the Norwegian GDP. Now, of course, Israel is not Norway, no matter how you look at it, it's not Norway, not from the size of reservoirs, not from the type of industry, existing capacity, not from the geopolitical situation, but still, with the right adaptations and with the right set of mind, we are starting. We are still in our embryonic stages, but we will develop a strong supply industry here as well on that sector. But one more remark: what happens here for us, Leviathan, Tamar, etc., hopefully some other reservoirs to be discovered soon, is just the excuse for the discussion. The real potential is getting the Israeli technological industry into the global technological industry through collaborations with companies as GE, as Schlumberger, as Halliburton, as Baker Hughes, etc., as Aker Solution, etc., etc. We need international collaboration for that. I mean, we might be great at some things, but in oil and gas we do not understand a lot. So we do need to create that platform for technical dialogue, setting up what are the standards, what are the industry needs, where are the gaps, where are the real challenges, how could we reduce costs? So it's technology and cost, and there to create that dialogue with international partners. Some figures that we've started looking at. So, for example, the produced water market in the world is estimated about $38 billion US dollars, and by 2020 is going to reach over $50 billion. Now, that's from one side. From another side, in Israel is very well recognized and known. It has a very strong technological water industry in different areas that are totally relevant for that. Could be relevant for that. It's the same technological capacity. It will require certain adaptation, but the potential is there. And not only the potential, some companies, for example, Neurosoft has a project in the Colombian llanas, jungles. Doesn't matter the size, but it is a large project. Several tens of billions of dollars, tens of millions, dollars. IDE, which deals with membranes for desalination and heat exchanger, etc. Now they are making a pilot in the Canadian oil sands to see how their technology could be adapted to the needs of the conditions of the Canadian oil sands industry. Infrastructure maintenance, here there are also some figures that we have found out. It's huge numbers. This is also, those slides I also show to the Israeli industry that sometimes ask, but what's our connection to this field? They also don't always realize. So we try to explain them a little bit how they could be relevant, and also that it's really worthwhile investing time and energy and money to get into this sector because the sizes are huge. In security, it's quite obvious fit. Also, you can see there's some figures, really close to 30 billion US dollars a market for security in oil and gas. You can see here some slides. Saudi Aramco hit by in cyber attack. This is from 2012, if I remember well. A cyber attack on Saudi Aramco. Maybe one day they will use Israeli cyber technology. By the way, it might be that they use, but through third parties. I know, for example, in drip irrigation, Israeli drip irrigation systems are being deployed in the Maghreb, in the north of Africa, and in the Gulf countries. The Gulf countries doesn't have the title Israel. One day we'll get to that too. Norway, which they feel that they are safe and happy and everything is fine. I'm not trying to scare anyone, but this is from Norwegian press from last August. If I remember well, 300 oil companies hacked in Norway. So this is a clear need and we have the capacity. I'm not going to get too much into details on that, but you can see, I mean, if you just took one very, very clear example, autonomous systems for subsea operation, etc., the linkage with the potential linkage, it's already starting to happen with the defense industry, with the defense technologies, could totally come into the service of the oil and gas industry. Those also, I will skip that. I don't think that it's that important. ICT is one of the strongest industry in Israel. As you've seen before, about 50% of the. You've seen about the R&D centers of multinational, but it's also about 50% of the Israeli export comes from high-tech sectors, from the ICT sectors mainly. And here, also in the oil and gas, there are huge needs. There are huge needs that we can bring into the table. Some companies that grew up here, one of them is Paradigm, that was sold. It's almost the only one. That was it's an independent software company that was sold to Apex 2 years ago in a valuation of $1 billion. Today, in its niche, it's competing with Schlumberger, quite impressive. Geomag is also there, and also in communication, Israeli telecom industry is very, very, very wide and spread, and some companies are already starting to develop applications for oil and gas, like Ceragon, that are working in Norway for remote communication with remote rigs. Just imagine if you talk about digital oil fields, and if you talk about making more economic, smaller, deeper, and more remote rigs. So a lot of it relates to technology and to ICT technology. So if you have an expert sitting on land and being able to have a real-time monitoring of remote rigging and interpreting the data that he or she is getting, so this could reduce dramatically the cost of operating a rig. I think I would like to hear some more ideas that we have about the challenges that we believe that we could bring, we could get involved in offering solutions. I would like to end with this. I hope it will work. With a short video, 2 minutes video. Works.
You find seeds that can be programmed to become whatever you wish. You engineer them to have limitless creativity. You plant them in soil designed to nourish them. They yield fruits of endless new inventions.
haven't noticed, it's a promotional thing. But the beauty in it is also true. Thank you very much.